Gotham, a crazy podcast about DC, with your hosts E-Rock and PD. When we speak up, get your geeks up, cause you know you about to get geeked up. So sit back, relax, and get comfy. Lose your mind like Solomon Grundy, and listen to a show that won't be forgotten, coming straight out of Gotham.
Gotham City, welcome to episode 67 of Straight Outta Gotham. We are a fandom pop culture podcast and a proud member of the Batman Podcast Network, hosted by Batman on Film. Make sure to check out all the other great shows on the network by heading on over to batmanonfilm.com. Click that little drop down, and there's a buffet of shows from our show to the Batman Book Club, Colonial Broadcasting, I think that's how you say it, I don't know, Michael will tell me in a week, Gotham Outsiders, Comics on Console, ZLTD, bunch of great shows, as Ryan Lau would say, for us to frolic about. So, I am your co-host from the other side of the Hudson River. I am Peter R. Vera, and we are recording on February 26, 2022. And as always, we have a great show for you today. But before we get into the good stuff, I'd like to remind you, all our faithful listeners, that if you take the time to rate and review this show on iTunes and Apple Podcasts, and we read your review on air, you won a Straight Outta Gotham prize pack. So, be in it to win it. Review this show like an episode of Titans by Eric Holzman, and that's the only way you're going to get that prize back. Now, let me introduce you to my partner in crime, the man who won the apple pie eating championship of Martha's County Bakery in Bayside, a fellow Batman on Film contributor, the biggest Valentine in all of February, everyone's favorite man, Eric Holzman.
Hello there, Pete, and wow, that might be the nicest one you've done. Thank you.
Well, Martha's is a good bakery.
Yeah, but everyone's favorite Valentine. I wasn't expecting that.
It fits for the month. It's February. You know, you're awesome. Like Cupid. You know, everyone loves you.
Yes.
You know, now that we're sponsored by Manscaped and everything's controlled down there, the ladies love you even more.
That's true, man. That's a good point.
So get that 20% plug in there. You know,
I'm in demand. I'm in demand, which is
promo code
nice. Gotham.
You can trim your bushes like Eric Holzman.
We'll get to that later. We'll get to that part later. But yeah, that's hard to talk about apple pie now after you went that route. But I guess we could go there.
This is not American pie.
Yes. Another one of my eating contests, my eating prowess.
You have the strongest jaw on Long Island.
My jaw, my stomach. Even though as you get older, the stomach starts to betray you a little bit.
We all know Aquaman has abs.
Oh yeah, they're hidden under several layers of flab, but yes, their abs are there. So I feel like once I lose some weight, I'll be able to show.
They're there. You know, why have a six pack when you can have a keg?
It's true. And it's so much nicer to rub, I guess. I don't know. But
rub a dub.
But yes, again, episode 67, man. This is crazy.
This is it. This is crazy because one, it's the final episode of Guest Month.
Yes.
And two, this is the last episode where we can say we haven't watched the Batman, because next week,
yes,
we're all going to be together. The inner circle is going to be all together to watch the latest and greatest from Warner Brothers and DC Comics. And you know, I think it's safe to say that we're all excited.
Yes, we are all excited. And last night I had the opportunity to be on the Vigilante 1939 show, their little tailgate party that they do before the big events. Mm-hmm. It was fun to be there, and Javi was also on, and it was cool to see him because I told him I'm actually going to see you next week. I'm actually going to get to meet you in person, which is going to be a lot of fun. So I want to thank the guys again. They do a great job. I want to thank them for having me on.
It was a good show. I watched it myself. It was very
having
good.
Me on their show.
Job. We were very proudly represented by the champion of Long Island.
Yes, I felt like I was carrying, until Javi came on, I was kind of carrying the mantle for both BOF and SOG, and now then Javi came on to kind of help out, so we had an extra guy in there. But as you said, this is our final episode of Guest Month, and so let's bring on our guest for this month. He is the host of the Adam Show Movie Show. He has a podcast as well, The World of Football, which for me, obviously, we've had a strong football presence in Guest Month. So I said his name already, Adam Snow. Adam, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks guys for having me. I'm completely honored to be the last of following three great guests. that you guys have had. And unfortunately, one of them was a Packer fan and is a Lions fan. I don't know how to feel about that. But again, thanks so much.
Well, are you happy for Matthew Stafford?
Of course. I am one of those Lions fans that was rooting for Matthew Stafford, that I never thought he was the problem in Detroit. So seeing everything he got to do in LA is, the closest I might ever get to seeing the Lions be successful, which is super sad.
Did you buy a t-shirt? Did you get your Rams Super Bowl t-shirt just for, or maybe a Matthew Stafford Super Bowl t-shirt, something like that?
Technically, I didn't pay for anything, but my mom, knowing that we are all Matthew Stafford fans in our family, bought us the Detroit Rams shirts that they've been selling around Michigan. And I got some hate on Twitter for that from the true Lions fans because I was supporting Matthew Stafford. So,
well, the true DC fans are boycotting the Batman. So, it goes both ways. There's idiots all over the
right. There's not a whole lot of difference between the sports fans and, DC and Marvel fans nowadays.
Yeah, so that was actually that had to be, I'm sure that was a little bittersweet though, right? Watching him win the Super Bowl as not a part of the Lions, I would assume.
Maybe a little bit, but I was so happy for the guy. I was almost in tears when he was on the stage. Yeah, like the dude, he did everything for Detroit. That dude literally broke his back for our team, and our organization couldn't do anything for him. So, I had no ill will towards him at all.
All right. Yeah, I don't know how I would feel.
Eric, how are you going to feel when Sam Darnold wins a Super Bowl?
Yeah, that's never happening, so I'm not worried about that. I'm perfectly confident in saying Sam Darnold will never win a Super Bowl.
What about Todd Bowles? Were you cheer for Todd Bowles in the Super Bowl?
Well, he won last year with the Bucks. He was the
He did. So I'm curious. Did you?
No, I did not. I couldn't root for Tom Brady. I can't root for Tom Brady. That's like against my. I would get kicked out of Jet fan world if I rooted for Tom Brady. So I can't do that. But I remember when Chad Pennington, the Jets signed Brett Favre and Chad Pennington went to Miami, and Miami won the AFC East that year.
I remember.
And I remember being pissed about that. Because of we're supposed to be upgraded at quarterback, and then he goes down there and he wins the division. So that was tough for me because I love Chad Pennington. I thought he was going to be a really great quarterback. The injuries really derailed his career, but I really thought he was going to be an excellent player.
Eric lives a miserable sports life.
Oh, outside of the Yankees, I have had nothing. And the Islanders, when I was 4, 5, and 6 as a little boy, I have had no sports joy in my life. The Knicks were good in the 90s, but they never finished the deal. They never won. Mm-hmm. And the Jets have just pleased. They made the AFC Championship game 3 times and lost all 3 times. So I have never had that. And those are my 2 favorite sports. Basketball and football are my 2 favorite sports. So in sports,
at least you guys got to the championship games. I was 2 or 3 when the Lions went to the conference championship game, and the one year they won they won 1 playoff game, and I was 2 years old, so I couldn't even enjoy it. So,
do you remember Barry Sanders at all? Were you too young for that?
Oh yeah, Barry. I remember the Barry run is some of my favorite stuff. I was there. There's one famous run of him juking some New England Patriots guys out, and that was my first ever Lions game. I was 5 years old at the time, but I remember that.
Yeah, so. Barry Sanders was huge when I was a kid, and I remember when he retired. I just was I don't get it. He could still play. What's
2 Lions have done that. 2 Lions, Calvin Johnson, the same thing. They both left early.
Yeah, don't get me started on that. The Barry Sanders one was a big sore spot for my dad. He resented Barry after that. He said they quit. He quit on the team, and he had a lot of good years left. And we've seen what the organization's done to guys, and it's not been good. So I don't fault any of those dudes for wanting to leave or retiring early. Mm-hmm. The organization's been trash. So hopefully we're turning things around, but we'll see. I say that every year.
Tigers fan, Red Wings fan, Pistons fan of those teams?
Not per se. I root for all Michigan sports teams. Any professional team, college team in the state of Michigan, they get my support. I won't say I'm a Red Wings fan, but I'll pull for them. I'll keep an eye on them. The Pistons, the one year I checked in with the Pistons was the year they won the title in 2004, which is one of the best runs of sports I've ever seen in my life. And so I'm always kind of keeping an eye on them and hoping for them to get better. And then who's our other team?
The Tiger. I said Tigers or Red Wings.
Oh, Tigers. Yeah, and I've never been to a Tigers game. I've got a Tigers jersey that I got a couple summers ago, but I'm not a big baseball fan, but I'll keep an eye on them sometimes.
So then the last question would have to be Michigan or Michigan State?
Neither. Western Michigan University.
Wow. There you go. Okay.
Did you go there?
I like that.
Did you go to Western Michigan?
I did go to Western Michigan. I've got friends who've gone to Western, and I just try not to pick sides. I have friends who've gone to Michigan State, so I guess I lean a little more towards the state side. But I have a lot of friends that are Michigan fans, so the state is truly divided the week that they play in football and basketball. So.
Must be fun.
It's a lot of fun, and I can talk trash to both sides too, and I'm unscathed because I have no skin in that game. Yep.
Yeah, college sports in this area is nothing. Nobody cares. It's all professional.
Yeah, if it is, it would be more basketball, but even that, the teams aren't as good as they.
The closest thing you get is just the Big East tournament,
right?
But then again, that's because everyone's at the Garden. It's not, it's no one's really rooting. You get all the fan bases in there, and then it used to be fun when you could gather. And you were able to have large crowds and all that. So that was something special. But that's as big as college sports gets in this area, is the Big East tournament.
All right, so Adam, the Adam Show movie show. Tell people about it a little bit, and then I'll let you. You did a show recently that had your 10 animated Batman films, or DC animated films. So go ahead and talk a little about all that.
Yeah, so I just decided I've always kind of been a fan of movies since I graduated high school. Just a big movie fan. I'm always at the movie theater, every weekend. That's where you'll find me pretty much. And for years, I've always kind of tried to start up a podcast or a YouTube channel, and it's always just kind of collapsed. And finally, I've kind of had the means to put together a decent presentation of a package, and I just decided to start up a YouTube show over the summer, and have been going, since July. Just every week I've been trying to put out something different, trying new stuff, new styles. I opened up with just doing narrations to movie reviews. So I'd write out a whole 2 or 3 pages of a review and then just narrate it and put it to video clips. And that got a little old. So now I've changed over to putting myself on camera, which is weird still, and just doing straight up reviews.
You got to find your niche.
Yeah, it's a learning process, and I'm having fun trying different things. And, I'm still starting out, so who knows? It could change in the next couple of weeks for all I know. Just depends on how I'm feeling or what I want to try.
Yeah. Eric and I started on Facebook Live.
Yeah, we started on this experiment started on Facebook Live, and then I did a show. Excuse me, I did a show for a couple of years on a. Sorry, guys. I'll edit this out. I did a show for years on this radio station here, this internet station called Strong Island Television, where I did a couple of shows. I started as a member of a 3-guy crew, and then the 2 just decided to leave, and I wound up taking it over myself. That was a live show. I self-produced it. I had a guy obviously running the other side and handling all the stuff, but it was all my ideas and stuff. And it takes a while to kind of find your footing and get comfortable doing this. So I've watched a couple of your shows, man. I think you do an excellent job.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, you have a really good presence. You speak very well. So I think you do an excellent job. So in that vein, like I said, you did a show recently about your 10 DC animated films. So just give us a quick
10 Batman animated films.
Yes. Just give us the list, and I guess Pete and I can riff off of it. And
so I'm, one of my favorite things is collecting the DC animated original movies. So that's kind of where this idea spun out of, because there's, quite a few Batman stories they've translated from the comics to the animated screen. Like we've got, The Dark Knight Returns, which I might get crucified for, but it's only number 4 on my list of Batman animated films. The recent Long Halloween adaptations are on there. I think the grossly underrated Lego Batman movie is a top 3 animated Batman film. And, but then there's some I put on there that I know a lot of people haven't checked out, like the Batman Ninja Turtles animated crossover, which, I'm not saying it's the greatest thing in the world, but I have so much fun watching that. And especially growing up as a Batman fan and a Ninja Turtles fan, I was like, this is all I could have ever dreamed of when I was a child. And now to see that as an adult is awesome.
Did you read any of these stories beforehand, or are you a movies guy? Like, did you read the Batman Ninja Turtles crossover? Did you read Long Halloween or the movies?
So with Ninja Turtles one, I read that when that came out, like in single issue form, and I was always like, "Oh man, this would be great. This would be great as an animated feature." And luckily, a few years down the road, they did that. But with like Long Halloween, I've always kind of
too.
Yeah, and I still got to get the other 2 volumes. I've only read the first one, and I just rebought that in like a nice hardcover. But with Long Halloween, I didn't actually read that till after the animated film came out. So I watched the 2 parts and then got the Absolute Edition of Long Halloween, and then finally.
Oh, you're speaking my language here, kid. I love it. Absolute. You spend some money.
Good. It's gorgeous. I love having it. I got that one. Got the Absolute Dark Knight, and I think those are the only Absolute Batmans I might have. But I got several of the graphic novels.
Well, you know they're not cheap, so don't be upset.
No,
those are like $100 books.
I want more. I want more because like sometimes on Amazon you can find them for a little bit of a discount. Like normally they're like $100 a pop, but I've gotten them for 60, 70 depending on.
Check out
which one you're looking for.
InStockTrades.com. You'll get them for like 50, 60% off there. Yeah, check that out.
Ooh, that's gonna be dangerous. Thanks for telling me that. My wallet's gonna take a big old hit this week.
So what about so like is Hush on the list? Is Hush on?
As much as I love that book, that animated adaptation didn't make the list. It was just, it's one of those ones that was like, oh, this is a hard cut, but it might have been down there in the 11, 12-ish range if I would have kept going with the list. But
yeah, I know the change, the change that they made rubbed some people the wrong way.
Hey, I'm all for it.
You can talk about it. It's been out for a couple years now.
I know. I'm just, no, that's all right.
I'm all for the animated adaptations, changing stuff. Because what's the fun of watching a film you already know the outcome of the book? So like tweaking a couple things here and there to kind of keep you on your toes, I think is a lot of fun. And the Gotham by Gaslight adaptation, I think is a decent example of that. And I think that's one of the reasons maybe that made my list as opposed to Hush, because that just worked for me a little bit more than the Hush tweaks that they did.
Yeah. I actually really appreciate the ratio of original adaptation and then page to screen. Like, I think they do a good job of mixing it up, because I'm with you. Like something like Year One and Dark Knight Returns, like I know what's happening, but the fact that it is, page to screen, I was like, you know what? I'm really happy with that. But then something like Hush, which I was a big fan of the movie and the book, I appreciated the switch, because I was like, okay, cool. Like, it's nice to know that you guys are thinking and being creative. And while it didn't work for some people, it worked with me. And you mentioned Gotham by Gaslight as well. Like those differences, I thought they were really smart, and I appreciated that. So I love the fact that there really isn't necessarily a formula, and they're trying things, and if it works, it works. And I've been pleasantly surprised. I think the only ones I didn't really enjoy were what's it called? Public Enemies, which was pretty much a translation from page to screen. And what was that big, that R-rated animated Justice League movie? I did not dig that one at all. I forget.
The recent
Apocalypse War.
Yeah, it was something like Apocalypse War, Dark Side War, one of those things. I wasn't into it. I didn't like it. I really just was not feeling it. But so again, I just recently watched Injustice for the first time. I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I was going to, and I thought they did a really good job mixing things up. So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I'm pleased with what they're doing.
That's the great thing about that DC animated line, especially, is like there's stuff for you, and there might be stuff not for you. You're getting a nice mixed bag of like just different stuff that they're trying, whether it be animation style, whether it be direct adaptations, whether it just be adaptations, but they're gonna go in a slightly different route, like Under the Red Hood, which even the writer Judd Wennick, I remember saying like, they wanted to do my story, and I couldn't do an exact translation because there's a lot of greater DC world stuff that was involved in that story. So he streamlined it, and I think that is one of my favorite. That is my favorite animated Batman film is Under the Red Hood.
Good. It's really incredible.
Good. It's excellent.
The two I have to check out that I haven't is that that World War II Justice League.
I just watched that like 2 weeks ago.
Okay, and the newly released Catwoman one. Those are the two that I wanted. And the Earth 2 one, I forget what is the name of it, Eric? That World War II one. What is it called?
The Justice
It's been out
Society
for a while.
one?
Yeah, it's been out for a while.
It's a Wonder Woman tied.
One where we
Yeah,
got a couple flashes in there, so
Yeah.
I'm
Justice
really into
Society
seeing that.
World War II.
Yeah.
I want to check that one out. It's I don't know why, but I haven't seen it, but I want to give it like that one really deserves like my full attention. I want to sit down and really focus on it because I think the story is very interesting.
It is. It's very well done. It was one that I had wanted to watch when it came out, but then I didn't, and then I saw it on HBO Max. So I'm like, oh, let me watch it, and it was very good. It's a very, very good good story. It's got.
It's funny how this all started with Superman Doomsday. Superman Doomsday.
Yeah.
Superman Doomsday.
Yeah.
And I remember when that came out, people were like, "Oh, it's okay." We were like, "It's good." Again, it's nice seeing Bruce Timm back and all that jazz. And they kind of did their own thing on the death of Superman, and then they did the death and return of Superman, which I thought was one of their more brilliant stories.
Oh yeah.
And I love how they streamlined that in animation. So I'm really happy with the animated originals. I like what they're doing.
And Pete and I got to cover that we got to cover the Reign of the Superman.
We did. Everyone
for BOF.
From Rebecca Romaine to
Jerry
I think the only person who wasn't there was Bad Joker. What's his name? Cameron Monaghan.
Yep.
I think he was the only one who wasn't there.
It's true. He's the only one who wasn't there. We got Rebecca Romaine and Jerry O'Connell and who's the guy who played Candyman? I always forget his name.
Tony Todd was there.
Todd was there.
Chris Williams was there, I believe, as well.
Yes, Chris Williams.
Mm-hmm.
It was a very cool event, and they were great.
Steel.
Like these press things could be very stressful, as you could tell, and they all handle it so well. I know it's part of their job, but it was just it's impressive to see. These people have a lot of other stresses in their life, and they just kind of put that aside. For
hopefully one day we can go back to doing that stuff.
Yeah, hopefully we can because it was a lot of fun. Those are a lot of fun to do.
It was nice to play reporter for a little bit, like the red carpet, you got the microphone, I got my jacket on, I'm interviewing somebody, like I pretend like I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, and living in New York helps because a lot of the stuff is done here, so it definitely
the
helps.
DGA Theater, the Directors Guild is here, so it's nice. It's there's perks to living in the most expensive part of the country.
Yeah, there is. It's true. So, Adam, I'm just going to throw a couple genres out at you, and if you can, off the top of your head, just tell me your favorite movie in that specific space.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
So let's do this. All right. So, drama. What's your favorite drama?
Oh boy, probably The Shawshank Redemption. That I remember seeing that. Like everybody always talked about it. Like, and when you like film and people ask if you've seen a certain film and you say, "Oh, I haven't seen that one," and you get crucified for not seeing one film or a couple of films that, come on, everybody can't see everything. But when I finally saw Shawshank, that changed the game. I saw what the hype was, and it just hit every note you want in a drama.
Yeah, it's funny. I just watched it last week. I just watched Shawshank last week.
It holds up. It is so darn good.
Incredible movie.
It's one of those movies that when it was released, it really went under the radar. Like not many people went to see it. I think only a few years ago it was announced that the movie finally broke even. Like it's still like people aren't really going out to watch it and see it, but like it's when you do see it, you see how powerful it is. So you're really getting deep on us here.
Yeah,
right. Because like it didn't get that love, that recognition till what was it? TBS got the rights to put it on.
It took a long time.
Like, that's how everybody saw it, was on cable on TBS, and but you hear about it now, and you would have thought when it came out that it was a big thing, and no, like you said, it was a dud at the box office. It was not talked about at all. It didn't get any like awards buzz, I don't believe.
Nothing.
So, but now it's like revered as like a top 5 all-time film.
It is.
It's one of those times where the cult classic actually did something good.
Right.
Yeah, it's so excellent. It really is crazy that it took that long for it to catch on, but it's such an excellent film. All right, comedy. What's your favorite?
Oh boy, that's so tough because like there's just so much. There's so many good comedies. Like I like to think of like the interesting, more unique comedy. Like 21 Jump Street, 22 Jump Street is some of the best modern comedy I've seen. Just that writing by Lord and Miller, the same guys who do Lego Movie. Like just that snappy, just kind of off the cuff dialogue and weird zany situations that you're like, how
they did Game Night,
how does this work? I don't think they did Game Night. The guys who did Game Night were gonna do one of the iterations of The Flash. I don't think Lord and Miller were involved in that.
Am I getting confused? Okay.
All right, so
like that's up there. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I agree. Like those movies, when I first heard that they were doing, because I remember the TV show 21 Jump Street, which was a totally serious show. It wasn't a comedy at all. It was a serious TV drama. And then when they heard they were doing this, and then when I saw they cast what's his name,
Tatum or Jonah.
Tatum and Jonah Hill, but it was more Jonah Hill. I was like, oh, what are they going with? Like, where are they going with this? Obviously, then I knew it was probably going to be more comedic. But yeah, it works for me. I agree. They're very good movies, very well done. Ice Cube is fantastic.
Ice Cube steals it.
They are so good. Those movies are so good. So yeah, that's a good one. I wasn't expecting you to go there, but those are good choices. Definitely.
What were you expect me to go with?
Caddyshack.
No, a lot of people in certain age ranges. I say, okay, but probably The Hangover, that kind of a film. I shouldn't do that because that's wrong. Everyone's different. I shouldn't presume where someone's gonna go, but
this is where Eric reveals his old man status.
Yeah, sometimes my old man status comes out, and
it's all good. Like I was like right up there is Step Brothers, so like maybe that kind of comedy is also up there. Like I just think it's just so silly and just ridiculous that I enjoyed on that level. Like there's nothing cerebral about it. It's just a weird zany, front to back, just balls to the wall comedy that I remember almost falling out of my seat in the theater laughing. I was having so much fun.
Yeah, that's another how Riley in that movie, John C. Reilly, is just like he can play so many. He's such a versatile actor. He can play so many different kinds of roles. But to me, every time I see him, he stands out. Like he's such a good actor.
Oh yeah,
and that's in one of
he's
those
going to be in that new that Lakers show on HBO Max.
He's playing Jerry Buss.
I can't wait to check that out.
Is he playing Jerry Buss? I can't wait to see that.
Yeah.
I actually don't like Step Brothers. It's one I'm not a huge Will Ferrell fan. Like outside of like Elf and the first Anchorman, like Will Ferrell is very hit or miss for me.
And Old School, I'd put Old School. His role in Old School, I like.
I always consider that more of a Vince Vaughn movie, but yeah,
it is.
You're right.
It is, but like I like him more as a supporting character in a film. I don't like the movies he kind of runs and heads. So
I hear that.
All right, so Adam, the last genre I'm going to throw at you is horror. So what is your favorite horror film?
Boy, horror is not my go-to genre. It is definitely one of the ones I've kind of always avoided. I was never really into it. But the last few years, they've come out with some really good stuff like, It Follows, The Babadook. But Don't Breathe is got to be one of my favorite, just most intense, just horror films. And it's set in Michigan. It's in Detroit, which is also kind of an extra bonus for me. Seeing something set in the state is always a lot of fun to see.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that one myself. I really like Fede Alvarez and what he was doing. I still have to see the sequel. I have not seen Don't Breathe 2, but
that one was a bit of a harder watch.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there were scenes in the first one where you're like, "Oh man, you guys are really going out there, huh?"
Right. But in the sequel, it was more they turned the blind man character into a hero, and that's where a lot of my uncomfortableness kind of came into play, like rooting for this dude who's done some bad stuff. So if you can get past that, it's not. I don't think it's a terrible movie, but I definitely had some moral issues rooting for this guy.
Mm-hmm. I hear you.
Yeah, and it was a kind of a surprise hit. Like I don't think people expected it to be as received as it was, and it was. I mean, I think it even got award love. So yeah, that's actually a very good one. Well, that leads me into our first topic for the show because Netflix, Pete and I had talked about this before. Netflix obviously had a version of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre that they were doing. And Pete and I had discussed on previous episodes about the trailers that we saw. And I actually liked the trailers.
Yeah.
And this was a classic case of the trailers being much better than the actual final product because I did not like this movie at all. To me, it's not a film. It's just a series of a vignette of kills. That's all it is. It's just a bunch of kills. I cared nothing about any of the characters. I couldn't give a crap. I'm actually rooting for Leatherface because some of the characters are so annoying. I'm like, can you just kill this person? Like, just get them out of this movie already. I can't stand it. So the only thing I remember from the trailer was the bus scene with the selfie, with the videoing. When they start videoing him, like, oh, they're going to cancel you and stuff. That was great. and that was even great in the movie.
That was the best part of the movie.
Yeah, that was the best part of the movie. But
I was rooting for everyone to die in that scene as well.
But yeah, so Pete, since we discussed this already and we've been talking about this film for a while, go ahead and give your feelings on this.
Well, it was a great little segue there by Adam, because he mentioned "Don't Breathe," and when this was announced, I was while Fede Alvarez didn't direct it, he did like write the story. He didn't like write the screenplay, so I was a fan. I feel like Fede's kind of taken a step back recently. I'm like, oh, okay, maybe you're more of a one-hit wonder than you are consistent. So we'll see. But I was really disappointed. This kind of felt, I'm with Eric. Like, I just didn't care about anybody in this movie, and it felt like a really bad version of Halloween 2018. Going for that direct sequel route, trying to do something a little bit different. I just thought the story was unbelievable, as well as believable as a Leatherface movie can be. These bunch of hipster influencers bought a rundown town. It looked like it was shot on a back lot. It didn't look like a town. It looked like just one street and a couple of props. And, it was really weird how Leatherface breaks through the wall and finds a perfectly good chainsaw like, in this old rickety house. Yeah, it seemed like, I liked your comparison there, calling it a vignette of kills. It seems like a dated 80s slasher movie, like the late 80s, where it's kill after kill after kill. And yeah, I was just really bummed out. And it's actually getting a decent amount of love by horror fans on Twitter. I see, a lot of people are saying it's horrible, but I'm surprised at how many people are saying it's pretty good. I know Andy DiGenova really enjoyed it, and I was actually kind of surprised by that. But I was kind of let down, because I like Fede Alvarez, and I was a little bummed. I was kind of hoping, it's kind of the first bad horror movie since the horror resurgence, in my opinion. And it's in my opinion, just god awful.
Yeah, that was my take as well. So, Adam, what about you?
I didn't see any of the trailers. I've seen the original film. I have that on Blu-ray, and that one gives me the heebie-jeebies watching that one. So going into
heebie-jeebies.
Yeah, I'm an 80-year-old man stuck in a 32-year-old man's body, so I might come up with some language you guys might not be used to hearing. But no, it was, boy, this movie was this is bad. This is so bad. From the opening, I 2 minutes in, I was like, can I stop this already? Like, I'm already getting like nothing. I can already sense where this was all going to go. And
my brother walked down on it. We were watching together. He walked down on it.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
boy.
Yeah, no, I mean, I could hear it in everyone's voice. We all kind of feel the same about this movie. And I was a little disappointed, because I actually was. The trailers kind of had me invested in it. I'm like, oh, crap, this looks like it's going to be very good. But again, I remember the first trailer, Pete and I talked about it. We're like, oh, they're just showing like series of scares and kills. And that's really was the movie, though. Like, that's right. The sad part. Like, that really was the film. Even like the early scenes where they're driving to Harlow, and you see obviously we're spoiling this, guy, so I'm sorry, but you're driving to Harlow, and then like they pull over the guy who happens to be driving the car, who happens to be black, so they're trying to put that whole racial element into it. You could tell at the beginning of the film. He's dating a white girl, like his girlfriend is white. Like, and you're like, all right, they're going there with this, and then completely left turn. That's never revisited again. Right. None of that even has anything to do.
Well, yeah, they had the Confederate flag scene, and then it was kind of gone.
Yeah, like there's nothing else there. It gets very quickly into the main plot of the film. They jump into it very fast, and like there's no build up. If you didn't see the first one or the original one, this is it's a hard watch from that point of view, because you have no kind of investment in anything. It's just very poorly written.
Yeah. And they try to use the final girl from the first one, like, or at least the character, and it just didn't work. It actually reminded me of like that post-credit scene in like Jeepers Creepers, or 3 or whatever, where she's, it's supposed to be Derry's sister or whatever it is. Like, I can't remember which movie they did it in, but it's just, I was so disappointed.
Yeah.
I was like, this is a Netflix movie.
Yeah. And as we know, with the way current things are in movies all over, nostalgia is a big deal, right? So it seemed like they were trying to tap in on that by bringing her back. and she's not in the movie all that long. You know, her scenes are incredible. I will say that of all the people in the film, I enjoyed her scenes the most.
I guess
You know.
there's not much I enjoyed in this movie outside of watching the chainsaw stuff. I thought the kills were the highlight, and
Right.
that's not saying much.
Yeah, when the one guy gets the guy upstairs, when he goes upstairs to kill Leatherface, and how
That was pretty
gets
brutal.
how
That
he
was the
gets
best
killed,
part.
and
That was
there's
my
the
favorite
axe, and
part.
you just the hacking, and you see like the indents in his head and stuff. That part was cool. Like
Yep.
seeing him, the dead.
Yeah, for
you know,
me,
he's-
probably the scariest part of the movie was probably in the middle of the bus scene when the two sisters are locked in the bathroom in the bus and the blood is coming through the
Mhm.
bottom of the door. That was very creepy. I thought the bus scene was good, but yeah, I don't think there's very many redeeming quality. The one thing I thought was pretty ridiculous was they try to get away in like the self-driving car.
Oh, that was
I was like,
Oh.
put your foot on the gas and get the hell out of town. What are you doing? This car's going like 5 miles an hour.
And I mean, of course, that last kill is kind of crazy and awesome.
Yeah,
That part was cool. I'll say that. But yeah, there was an article in THR for the star, the girl who starred in the movie. Her name is Sarah Yarkin, who's also a singer, which I didn't even know. But
You guys have that in common.
yeah, we do actually. She's a lot more. Oh, I didn't know who she was, so maybe she's not a lot.
Has she
lot
ever
more known
sang
to
in a
me.
live stream before?
I don't know. She might. Maybe.
So therefore, you got that on her.
That's true. I had never seen her in anything before. I know she's been in other things, and there's a whole interview with her. Obviously, she was in Happy Death Day to You. She was in that. So she goes. There's an article that goes with. She talks about the casting process and all about the production of the film. Peter's right. This was shot in Bulgaria. They shot it on pretty much on a back lot, like he said. They recreated the town, and she talks about that. And they shot obviously during the pandemic. There's information on that in there. But there was nothing for me in the article. There's nothing that I picked out from the conversation that in this interview that she had that was really surprising to me or noteworthy, except for the fact that she does have a music career. That was the only
I thought it was
thing.
interesting how she like had a hard time watching herself get killed and whatnot. Like she's been in 2 horror movies, and she seemed like she was very squeamish, and she doesn't like horror movies, but she's kind of, I guess, on the verge of becoming a scream queen. Like I guess when you do, I guess when you get your 3rd horror movie, you enter that role of scream queen.
Right.
But, yeah, I mean, I'm happy she got top billing, and this is her first big movie, and hopefully good things come out of it. The best thing that ever happened to George Clooney was Batman and Robin, so good things can come out of horrible films.
The one thing I did think was weird, they asked her like what her favorite scary person was, and she said Captain Hook.
Yeah, apparently she was terrified of Captain Hook as a kid.
I mean,
Adam,
I
were you
kind of
scared
was
of
too. I
Captain
ain't gonna
Hook?
lie.
Not Dustin Hoffman.
Oh yeah, the Dustin Hoffman one
No.
scared the crap out because like I remember that opening scene. You see the claw mark in that house. When he came and abducted Peter's kids at the beginning. Scared the crap out of me. I just done. I'm out.
I guess when you look at it like that, it makes sense. Yeah, I guess Captain Hook could be pretty scary. Kind of reminds me of the Penguin in Batman Returns, just kidnapping children.
Yeah.
I wonder how Rick Shue feels about that.
Oh, we know how Rick Shue feels about that, and he won't hesitate to tell us either. He would not hesitate.
One thing Rick
times.
doesn't do is hesitate.
Oh yes, we will see Rick in a few days, so that will be fun. Looking forward to all of that. So let's stick in the horror area for a while. There was a trailer released for Jordan Peele's next film called Nope. Now really quickly, Adam, have you seen Get Out? Have you seen Us?
Oh yeah, I own both of those. I'm a way bigger fan of Get Out than Us. I think Us was conceptually really interesting, but in the end I was like, this doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But I mean, there's stuff in it that's really good. Like I think Lupita Nyong'o gives a heck of a performance, and
Yes.
Winston Duke is hilarious in it.
Yes.
So I'm giving Jordan Peele complete faith. He's kind of 50-50 with me, so I'm like, I'm gonna go into this, and I think he'll knock this one out of the park.
Well, what do you think of the trailer?
The trailer, it got me. Like, it kind of gave me that Close Encounters of the Third Kind vibe there, like when all the stuff starts shutting down, and then a lot of great imagery of the kite going into the clouds. And one of my favorite actors is actually Steven Yeun, and seeing him in this too got me a little excited.
I'm with you on that.
And he actually, I didn't know this, but I have a cousin's cousin who was like roommates with him when they were going to school. So
wow.
I've always kind of been like, oh, Stephen Young, like I'll back whatever I see him in now. Like he's got very loose family ties apparently.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously he's in The Walking Dead. People know that. What the movie he was in? There was awards for. I forget the name. The one that was in all Korean.
Oh, Minari.
Yeah, Minari.
Isn't he the voice of Invincible?
Yes, he's the voice of Invincible. Yes. So yeah, I mean, his star is kind of growing for us,
right.
which is cool. I mean, for me, the trailer was just more of what I've gotten to love from Peele's movies. So I'm in, and I love Daniel Kaluuya. However you say his last name. I'm sorry for butchering it. Yeah, but I love him. And the beginning of it, the beginning of where they talk about the first film was a black man riding on a horse. In the trailer, like that's total him. He just like grabs you right away. Like, you're all right, now I'm in. It didn't take anything more than that for me to say, okay, I'm jumping in with this. So Pete, what did you think of the trailer?
I was really fascinated by it. I'm like, what is this about? What's going on? What is the threat? Like, is this some sort of monster? Is this some sort of alien thing? Like, I have more questions than anything else. And, that's really what intrigues me. And, I think I'm so like, if you told me like 10 years ago or whenever, Key and Peele was on, that Jordan Peele would be this big time horror director, I would have been like, are you serious? The comedy guy? Like I wouldn't have seen it. Then I would have said the same thing about Kenny McBride and, Halloween. So like, I love that these guys are able to branch out into, I guess like unfamiliar territory from what I'm familiar with them with. So yeah, I'm just really interested. I can't wait to see what it is. Like, I feel like his movies are getting to the point where it's like, I just need the announcement. I don't need a trailer. I just need to see it. Like, okay, cool. He's got a new movie out. Well, I'm there. I'm checking it out opening night.
Yeah, I agree. Like, he's definitely reached that status for me. And I agree with you. When Key and Peele was on, I never would have thought like he would be this big guy. I love that show. I was watching the college all-star football team clips the other day because I love the names that they did on that show, and it's just so incredible.
Yeah, he has so much creativity that it's just hard to contain, and it knows no bound. He's going from comedies to horror, and he's like, I'd love for him to like take the reins and do something with Friday the 13th. I really would. I feel like that's the one horror, the one horror movie that needs to be revived at some point, or even if he wants to do a Freddy thing, like we've seen Michael Myers and Leatherface come back in various forms, and I'm just Jason and Freddy I think need their due, and fingers crossed. I don't know if it's something he's interested in, but I would hope that somebody along the lines comes and takes those guys over and does something. But I'm really pumped for Nope.
Yeah, so guys, obviously the trailer's out. Go and check it out. If you need a link to it, you can always find it on on all of our media, because Pete puts everything up there, so you guys can go check that out there. All right, so let's fast forward a little bit to now, where we had the Suicide Squad, we had Peacemaker. One character who was in David Ayer's Suicide Squad was not in the Suicide Squad, even though he did not die. And
did he? Do we even know that?
Well, that's true. We don't know that. That's a good point.
We don't even know.
But he's the son of a really famous actor, guy who's been acting forever, Clint Eastwood. Scott Eastwood, who, as you know, was in Suicide Squad, and they said that when he wasn't in this film because when they pitched the first when they pitched the first film, they were pitching it as a 3-film thing, and he's like, I didn't want to know if I can make the commitment at that time. And his father told him, if you don't feel it, if it's not something you're really into, then don't do it. And that's kind of why he wasn't in the second one. Now, I don't have any knowledge that if he was even asked to be in the second one. But obviously when they were originally setting up the contracts, they were setting him up for multiple films. So it didn't bother me that he wasn't in the film. His role wasn't that big in Suicide Squad.
Well, we don't know what his real role was, right? I mean, that film was chopped up, so.
Yeah, so what did you guys think of that, of Clint Eastwood kind of keeping his son out?
I think it's great advice. Let's be honest. If you're going to listen to anyone in Hollywood, you're going to listen to someone of Clint Eastwood's status, and the fact that he can go to his father, and his father is someone of that stature, is great. But like, guys have contracts all the time, and these contracts still don't get fulfilled. Like, again, mentioning George Clooney's Batman for the second time on the show, like he signed like a 3-picture deal to be Batman, and he only made one. So it is what it is. That's the business. We'll see. I mean, if we ever get that Ayer cut of Suicide Squad, maybe he has a more prominent role. Maybe we find out what his fate is, but we don't even know if he makes it out alive.
Right. Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth.
Did you like Suicide Squad?
The first one?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I did actually like it. Like, I don't love it. It's not like the greatest comic book film of all time, but I definitely saw it in the theaters 4 times. I had a lot of fun with it. And I'm curious to see what an Ayer cut would look like, and if maybe Eastman's got a bigger role in it, but his lack of presence in the second one didn't hinder anything for me.
Yeah.
No, there's too many good characters in that second movie to complain
I think
about.
Clint gave him good advice.
Oh yeah, you listen to that man.
I don't think he's that good of an actor to begin with, so he doesn't enhance a picture by him.
I don't even really know anything outside of Suicide Squad that he's in, to be honest. Like, what is he in? I don't remember seeing him in much.
Fast and Furious.
Oh yeah, isn't he Mr. Nobody's like right hand man in those movies?
Yes.
Yeah, I did not see that one. So.
Yeah. But yeah, like the only thing I ever say is like, oh, that's Clint Eastwood's son again. Like that's how I don't even, his name doesn't even like roll off the top of my head. I just know that it's him. So all right, but if you guys are a fan of his, Scott Eastwood, that's the reason why he wasn't in, one of the reasons why he wasn't in the Suicide Squad. So we do know obviously that the Suicide Squad, of course, birthed Peacemaker. Pete and I talked about it. Have talked about the finale. You talked about it at the last week's show. So Adam, I'll give you a chance to talk about Peacemaker, what you thought about the show, and then we'll get into a little bit more of the topics.
It's definitely one of the best TV shows DC has ever put out. I think the only thing that maybe it's better than the Peacemaker show was the Watchmen HBO series they did a couple years back. Mm-hmm. And that's a really high bar. And the fact that, I keep doubting James Gunn, or like having a little bit of reservation with him, and he just keeps coming up and knocking it out of the park. Like I never want to doubt this dude again, because the dude's batting 1,000. I say it all the time now. He knocked it out of the park with the Guardians movies, with the Suicide Squad, and now with Peacemaker. Like, I just trust this dude completely with whatever he wants to do.
Well, it seems like we're going to be getting a lot more of James Gunn on the TV side, because according to an interview he did with Variety, he, after Guardians 3, he is not really going to be doing films. He's kind of going to be sticking in the TV area, and the shows that people are asking him about, we've heard there's going to be more spinoffs from the Suicide Squad. So I've asked this to other guests in the past. Is there any character from the Suicide Squad that you would like to see, Adam, that you would like to see a show done about?
I know it probably won't happen, but I mean, James Gunn's got a beautifully weird mind, and he's going to pick a character that we least expect probably and turn them into a big super mega hit, just like Peacemaker. But I would love to see like a King Shark Ratcatcher team up. I think that'd be a lot of fun. They could also go like maybe a little more serious with a Polka Dot Man prequel series or something of the ilk. But I'm actually just game for whatever this dude wants to do at this point. Like, he can tell me he's going to pick another D-list hero that, got 3 seconds of screen time. Like, who was it? The Kaleidoscope was in the prison. Like, he can make a Kaleidoscope series.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And probably knock it out of the park. So I'm game for whatever he does.
All right. And Pete, are you sad we're not going to be getting Gunn movies for a while, that it's just going to be TV, or are you just happy he's staying around?
I for one can't believe that a Suicide Squad 2 by James Gunn is not going to get made.
Okay.
I think it's going to happen at some point, right? I feel like he kind of, while again it didn't make money because of the pandemic and everything, I think it was so well received. But if they're going to give him, here's 3 HBO spinoff shows, I mean, how am I supposed to complain with that? It's very tough. And like Adam said, the guy's a genius. While I don't agree with you on Guardians 2, I do not like that film. It's probably the only James Gunn movie I don't enjoy. If I wanted a serious James Gunn show, I would want some sort of blood sport, maybe a blood sport Deadshot show. while kind of combining the two, because you could just bring in the star power of Will Smith and Idris. I think that would be fantastic. And I'm with you. I would love if they could do some sort of comedy King Shark thing. I don't necessarily need a team up with Ratcatcher, but if they can do anything, whether it's just like, I don't know, an 80-minute just King Shark movie or something of that ilk, I would love it. I don't know how expensive it is, but I love King Shark. In fact, he's always by my side. I have him here at all times. I love here's my King Shark action figure. I absolutely fell in love with Sly, Hand, Bird, everything, Friend. It was just it was great. So he was the character that I fell in love with. And I'm just excited to see what James Gunn has in store. Because like Adam said, like whatever the guy wants to do, you let him go until he fails, and then maybe you rein him in a little bit. But I mean, if he could do what he did with Peacemaker, because at the end of Suicide Squad, I hated Peacemaker, not because I thought Cena did a bad job or he was written badly. I really thought he was just a jackass. He's the most disliked character in that movie because I think he's the villain even more than Waller. And to go from hating that character for killing Flag to really opening and embracing him, and again, like here we go, my action figures are everywhere. Like I got a Peacemaker figure within arm's reach. Like and now that he's on display, I think that speaks volumes. Like I at one point doubted myself, and I was like, do I want to buy this action figure? Do I need this Peacemaker action figure? And at the time, I bought it to finish the Collect and Connect King Shark, and now the two of them are out on display. So you don't know what you're going to get when James Gunn comes aboard, and I'm just happy he's doing it. And again, flex your creativity, do what you want, follow your heart and your passions, and that's what he's doing. And it's just beautiful to watch on screen.
Yeah, I agree. One of the breakout characters for me from Peacemaker was Vigilante. He's a much different take on the character than how he's been written in comics. Much more comedic in this version, and Freddie Stroma plays plays Vigilante on the show. He's also a veteran of the show Bridgerton, where he plays Prince Charming. So it's a very different kind of role going from Prince Charming to the Vigilante that we get on this show. One thing that's been talked about a lot in the relationships on Peacemaker was the relationship between him and Vigilante and Peacemaker, of course. Now,
people have internet being the internet.
Yes, and people have brought up this whole idea of a bromance. And is there some kind of romantic angle? Adam, do you think any of that exists?
I don't think so. I think, it's just a bro being a bro. And I think the way Freddie plays things is fantastic. And I didn't know that he was brought in late in the game. I didn't know that he was a recast 5.5 episodes in. Like, that's what struck me when I was learning about all this stuff.
Very Michael J. Fox Back to the Future, right? Like,
right.
You don't know what you got until you actually do it.
And he just knocked it out of the park. Yeah. Like, how do you come into a situation or a group that's been filming for 5.5 weeks, been being prepped for longer than that, and you just come in and you just absolutely slay, like, in that short amount of time and become a fan favorite? Like, the dude just, I don't know, he's somebody else I'm going to be keeping an eye on after this.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind. Imagine like a Vigilante show where he's just running around town acting like a fool. Like I know some people said that his act got tired. For me, it didn't. I thought he was, for a show that had a lot of comic relief, I thought his was probably the best part. Vigilante and Judo Master really stole the show for me. I thought whenever they were on screen, it was funny. Like, well, just watching the guy eat flaming hot Cheetos and flicking them at people was hysterical. And then he kicks those two guys outside the convenience store's ass. Like, I was like, this is great. This guy's got like barely any screen time, and I'm like, McFarlane, make me an action figure. I need more. So it was great, and I'm with you. Just really captivating. Like again, like I'm used to Vigilante kind of being a typical hard-headed Vigilante, but this new take worked for me in the context of this show.
Yeah, he again, like I said, he's one of the breakout stars of this show for me. The other one
wasn't?
But the other one being Adebayo, Danielle Brooks playing Adebayo, she was incredible.
She was great too.
Those are the two that stood out the most for me. But the whole bromance angle with these two, and I think it was more of like he says,
big brother, little brother.
Yeah, Freddie Stroma says that it's more of the, and
because,
that's how
like,
I
Harcourt and Peacemaker got a thing going on. Like, there's no
right.
As the show went on, there's no doubt, and like they're feeling each other, which is weird because it's like you're directing your girlfriend to hook up with John Cena. That's just Hollywood's a strange place.
and Gunn does talk about that relationship as well in his interview, where he says that he doesn't think that Harcourt wants to be with him because he's just too all over the place, and
opposites attract.
Right, but we'll see where that relationship goes. But it's
Eric, you know this. You're a living Cupid. You know about this. Like, women love you. You know, even they love to play hard to get.
That's true. That's very true. And at the end, we do see he visits her in the hospital. There's a hand holding scene between them two. So yeah, it definitely is. The seeds have been planted that something could happen between those two in season 2, which of course we know we're getting, which was awesome. Adam, just a few seconds on the Justice League appearance at the end. What did you think of that?
Oh my God. I'm so upset that it got spoiled for me because like I was at work and I was just kind of scrolling through YouTube on a break and I saw the thumbnail and I shouldn't have clicked on it. And I did. So having that spoiled for me kind of sucked. But when I sat down later in the day and watched the full episode, I loved it. I loved that whole cameo. I love the fact they got Momoa and Ezra to come in and do that whole bit. And whatever people, the Snyder fanboys who think that they pissed on the characters for doing it like that, like whatever, guys. It's James Gunn having fun. It's these guys having fun with these characters. Like, just chill for a little bit.
I thought they were boycotting everything. I thought they were boycotting everything, so they didn't watch it.
Oh, who knows?
If they were boycotting it, they shouldn't have seen it. That's all I'm saying.
But
well, that sucks. I'm sorry that happened.
No,
to you.
I mean, it's just one of those things. Like, I should have stayed off the internet. It's like, even like with any movie or TV show you want to check out without getting spoiled, you know better than to be on the internet because you'll probably stumble on something. So I knew better. So that's on me. But it didn't ruin what seeing it in that moment. It just was incredible. And to have those versions of the characters come back was the last thing I expected in this show.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting how like they actually didn't film the scene together. Momoa and Miller,
Right.
like Miller was on the set of Guardians 3 filming it, so Marvel actually did Warner Brothers a favor, which is just great because it's like that'll drive angry fanboys more insane because that's the best thing in the world is just idiots on Twitter.
And then DC scratched their back by having the screen test for the guy who played Myrn. He did his screen test with DC for his role in Guardians 3, so there's a little bit of inner studio love going on.
Yeah, it kind of seems like everyone wants a little bit of James Gunn, so they got to make him happy. You know, the guy's on fire, and you know, let's split the difference here. You want him for your movies, we want him for ours, and everyone's going to pay to see it. So I guess we all win.
Yes,
that's all that matters is that we win.
Exactly,
everybody's winning. They're making millions of dollars. We're getting great content.
Yep.
Like the only people who aren't winning are those who aren't seeing this stuff.
That's true, 100%. So a cool little thing that came out of one of the scenes in the finale, Green Arrow was mentioned.
Oh yeah.
There's kind of a joke between Vigilante and Peacemaker about Green Arrow. And as you know, if you're a fan of the CW and the CW shows, Stephen Amell played the Green Arrow for 8 years on the CW, on the show Arrow, which to me is the second best of all the CW shows.
Right behind Batwoman.
Right behind Superman and Lois.
Batwoman.
So there was a nice little exchange there, and Andy Baybank, I think that's how you say him, or Baybach, that's how you say his name.
Sure.
He called out Stephen Amell on Twitter saying, did he see the finale and did he see that? And then Amell said, no, I haven't seen it. He's too busy showing Cena what professional wrestling should look like on TV, which of course is in reference to the movie that he did called Heels. Sorry, Stars. It's a series called Heels on TV. So it was a nice, cool little thing to see. Amell's always great with this stuff, though. Every time, he's very, very cool when it comes to people talking about Arrow. It's just a fun little barb. I don't think there was anything serious.
Tongue firmly planted in cheek kind of comment.
Exactly. Yeah. So,
you know, it looks like Stephen Amell knows that the DCEU has mentioned various characters. The multiverse is coming, so maybe we see a return of the Green Arrow. I don't know. Who knows? We'll find out more after the Flash. But there were a lot of characters that were mentioned in Peacemaker. Batmite is one of them, and to know that these characters are in the greater DCEU is just, it's fun. You know, you can have your own little headcanon and think about who he looks like and what characters which. But hey, look, both companies are embracing this multiverse, so maybe that's just a little seed that's planted. I mean, Willem Dafoe's been trying to get in Joker 2 for a couple months now, so anything's possible. Everyone is trying to get into a comic book movie, and maybe Mr. Amell can make the jump from small to big screen.
And he has said in the past that even though an Arrow was finished, he's like, he'd definitely be welcome to coming back playing the role again in some form. So maybe he knew all about this. Because again, he was part of the Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover that they
Mm-hmm.
did, and that famously has Ezra Miller in it. So
Yeah.
that seed had been planted in
So the CW and the DCU have met. So
yes, so it's going to be interesting to see. But I thought that was very cool. That was a cool little
it's
thing.
fun. I like it when these guys have fun. You know, it's sometimes it seems like The Rock is the only one who gets involved in this stuff. Like he used to taunt Henry Cavill a little bit, and back when BVS was made, Affleck and Cavill would go back and forth on social media. So it's just good fun, wholesome fun. Like there's nothing wrong with guys. I mean, I'm sure some of these guys know each other, and like we said last show, like friends rib. I rib Eric all the time. So yeah, that's just the way it goes. It's just just guys being guys.
It's 100%. So speaking of characters coming back, there was one character who famously came back that he wasn't sure he was going to be coming back. And I'm talking about Sebastian Stan as the role of the Winter Soldier, Bucky Barnes, in the Marvel Universe. Everyone knows he originally auditioned for the role of Captain America. He wanted that role. Obviously, Chris Evans got it. And then they kind of segued him to playing this part. And he said in a Vanity Fair article, like, I certainly did not know that I would be playing the role for 10 years. I remember going in for the Steve Rogers role and not getting it, and then being told about this role and where it could go, but they didn't seem committed to it at the time. So knowing what we know now, guys, of how he's been in, I think he said he's been in 7 films, seven films, and then of course Falcon and the Winter
Which
Soldier.
I loved.
Right, which was excellent. So, Adam, what would you think if you went in for a job, didn't get it, they put you in another position, but they didn't really commit to you after that? You had no idea where it was going.
Man,
how would you feel?
I feel like him. I'd be like, hey, at least I got paid for one gig, and I just go about the rest of my life. And to see like how they changed it, like he was originally supposed to have that green sleeve, right, the CGI sleeve in the first film, and have that nixed. You know, I mean, when you're watching the movie, you don't really think about it, like unless you're like in the know with comic books, you know what happens to Bucky down the line. Like that's always a possibility. And now, especially with Kevin Feige running the ship there, he's probably planning all this stuff years in advance. But I think at that time, Marvel was just kind of getting going. So I get the hesitation. I get the kind of, we don't really know where the ship's heading. I mean, they got all these plans, they got all these threads they could follow. It's just a matter of what works in the final edit. And I think, it was one of those blessings in disguise, especially for him. To just kind of
I'm with you. Like when Bucky falls off that train in First Avenger, I'm like, oh man, that's like. Granted, like I know Bucky's supposed to go MIA, but like I felt for the guy, like, and that's like one of the changes I really enjoyed was them making Bucky older, and it's like, well, again, like you have the debate: can you have the 8-year-old Robin? Well, how do you do the 8-year-old Bucky in the military?
Right.
That's even more far fetched. So to bring him to see that they had a plan, then they scrapped it, and then they brought him back is just really good because you don't know what you're going to have in store for you. Like we mentioned Scott Eastwood earlier, like he thought he was going to get a 3-picture deal and he doesn't come back for any of them.
Right. Kind of the opposite of this situation.
Yeah, and it's just cool. And like I've loved everything he's in. I thought Falcon Winter Soldier was great. I thought Captain America Civil War was great. I loved his arcs in the other Avengers movies and everything. And just I'm happy he's been around because I think he's been a real treasure. And I'm just happy it all worked out, to be honest with you. It's just it's good stuff. I love the Captain America stuff is probably some of my favorite MCU stuff, and I'm just glad Bucky's been a part of it. And just you never know what's going to happen in Hollywood, and I'm glad he got a big break. And to be brutally honest, I'm kind of surprised he never got cast as young Luke Skywalker. Everyone's been posting those pictures.
Well, he's been too busy playing Tommy Lee and been killing that role.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen it yet, but
it's so good.
People are talking about it like it's amazing. So, I mean, I've seen the original tape, so I don't know what he's seen the documentary for.
I started watching it the other night for Pam and Tommy. So he looked. I've only seen the first 20 minutes because I hate to say it, but I fell asleep. Not because of the show, just because I was tired.
Because you're an old man.
Oh yeah, but I got to see him at least be Tommy Lee for a little. I mean, the way the series starts is incredible anyway. So you get to see him right away, and he's very, very good.
Oh, just wait till you get to the most outlandish scene of the whole series. Like, I don't want to spoil it for people who haven't seen it, but he gets to talk to
don't spoil.
He gets to talk to a specific person really close to him, and it's not what you expect. Right. It gets really weird.
All right, I'm looking forward to that. But the other crazy thing about this, like Pete was saying, he falls, and you don't know. In Captain America, First Avenger, he falls, and then he's kind of the co-headline of the sequel. Winter Soldier, it's Captain America and the Winter Soldier, right? Like he's the second lead technically for me in that movie. I know it's everyone thinks Scarlett Johansson, yeah, because she obviously has a larger role. But for me, that's kind of like a twin billing. You have both of them and their arc, and it's a crazy story, and it just goes to show you, like in Hollywood, you never know. Like we talked about the Deathstroke thing with Manganiello, like you just never know what's going to happen. When you sign on to do these projects. Yeah. So that's crazy. All right, so sticking in the Marvel universe, Pete likes to call anything to do with Captain Marvel Eric stuff.
Anything with Captain Marvel and Star Wars Eric stuff.
So there was a little bit. Brie Larson actually spoke a little bit about the Marvels, which is the sequel to obviously Captain Marvel, and it's going to star Ms. Marvel in it as well. And she talks a little about director Nia DaCosta. So here's a direct quote from her. She goes, I feel it's like I wish I could talk about it. I can talk about my feelings around it. I can say that I can't say enough about how incredible our director Nia DaCosta is, and what an honor it was to work with her. What an immense talent she is. How much I just feel like she's the future. And I could also say that when I read the script for the first time, I couldn't believe what I was reading. I was like, this is bonkers. And it's the thing that I love about Marvel is they continue to reinvent. They continue to do the thing that you just would never think would be possible in these films. And they're not afraid to go there. So I'm super excited about what we did. I think there are some huge personal achievements of mine that I'm really excited about sharing, but it's kind of fun to have a big secret. And it's fun to know that when this film comes out, people are going to be delighted, and I get to keep that to myself for a little bit longer. So as we know with obviously with No Way Home, secrets seem to become are bigger and bigger in the MCU. They just seem to be becoming bigger and bigger, especially also with Doctor Strange. We don't know what's going to go on with there. There's rumors about people appearing, and there's nods to things. So Pete, since you did not like Captain Marvel, the fact that they're doing this sequel with Ms. Marvel and they're bringing other elements in, does that change your expectation?
I hope to God it's not as boring as the first movie. And I'm not one of those people who likes to hate on Brie Larson. I thought she was great in Kong Skull Island and everything else I've seen her in. I was not a fan of the first Captain Marvel, but I'm pumped to see Kamala Khan in it. I mean, repping Jersey and in Jersey City, I'm happy to get another superhero in my home state. So I'm pumped that Jersey is going to be repping in this movie, and that's why I'm going to check it out. But I mean, I hope it's bonkers because the first one was a dud in my opinion. I don't know how that movie is 90% on Tomatoes, makes $1 billion because I'm sleeping through, and then people are trashing Eternals, and I love that film. So, just everyone's different. I just don't get it. Well, and then obviously there's the whole cat and the eye thing, and just like so. Yeah,
I like both films, Turtles and Captain Marvel. I don't love these guys think I love Captain Marvel. I don't love it. I like it. It's
Eric. You love Captain Marvel more than Dark Knight. You told me
so much. You get a hashtag for it,
right? Yeah.
I don't lie.
So Adam, where do you stand on Captain Marvel and what Brie Larson is kind of telling us that the second one is going to be? There's going to have surprises. It's going to, which Marvel films always do. It's going to be a nice bonkers. She calls it's going to be a bonkers film.
It's like the same. What do you think? It's like the same old Marvel publicity shtick. It's it's everything's going to be crazy. There's going to be so much. Everything in the kitchen sink's going to be thrown into this movie, and they talk kind of long-windedly, long enough to where you go, did they really even tell us anything? Like it's just they kind of work around the question. So that's just typical Marvel PR, which is fine. And if you like the first movie, then you're going to be excited for the second movie. If you didn't like the other one, I don't blame you for being hesitant going into this one, but I have faith in Kevin Feige just as a producer and the guy leading this whole Marvel ship that the odds are that it should be good. Like, I don't think he's produced a dud per se, but it's, I have no prior knowledge in a lot of these other characters, like Ms. Marvel. I don't know much about, I'm not as big a Marvel guy as I am a DC guy, but I still love the Marvel films. So I'm going to go into it as like open-minded and as just, hey, throw it at me. Show me what you got. That's going to be my mentality going into that.
It is weird. The Captain Marvel thing has always been, the discussion around it has always been weird to me because a lot of it centers around Brie Larson's performance for a lot of people. And some of it is the continuity problems that film kind of created. But I don't know, man. It's just, I think she's a very talented actress. So anytime it's something that she's in, she's enough for me to go see it.
Yeah, I mean, she's got an Oscar on her mantle for a reason.
Right. So I
Yeah.
think,
I just think she gave a bad performance in one movie. I got nothing against her as an actress.
but I've liked her. She's stayed consistent in the Avengers films when she's appeared in it, and like she's been her role has been consistent, and she's maintained that consistent performance. So I don't, looking now back at her arcs thus far to this point, like I kind of feel like that that's just what they're asking her to play. So
Maybe.
that's just how I feel.
I've enjoyed her. She's kind of like Doctor Strange in the aspect where like I enjoy her more in the ensemble movies than I did her solo movie. So
Okay.
well, but like again, like I'm hyped for Doctor Strange too. Like I think that thing looks like it's bonkers. So
Yes.
again, like I don't know what the movie's going to be like. I'm going to go see it. I see all these movies. I'll judge it when I see it. If it blows, it blows. If it doesn't, then it doesn't. You know. But and the same goes for the Batman. I could walk out of the Batman hating it.
Right.
You know, and that would be just devastating.
Well, we're going to get to the Batman in a little while. Another little piece of Marvel news. Pete brought up the Eternals, and in the end credit scene of the Eternals, we hear a voice, and that voice is definitely Mahershala Ali's Blade. So there's a little bit of Blade casting that just came out recently. So Aaron Pierre, who was on DC show Krypton, is going to be playing opposite Mahershala Ali in Marvel's new Blade movie. We don't know who he's playing yet, which is often the case with these castings. I wish they would find that out before they tell us. But Pierre's also going to be the voice of Mufasa in the Lion King prequel, so he's going to be around in that. He was in M. Night Shyamalan's Old, and an Amazon series, The Underground Railroad, which obviously is about the Underground Railroad and during the Civil War. So, Adam, do you know any of his work? Are you?
I saw him in
interested
Old.
in Blade?
I'm interested in Blade. I like the first two Blade movies with Wesley Snipes. I think this is a character that should be a lot of fun to bring into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I keep hearing about this Marvel Knights area of the Marvel Comics that just sounds more and more interesting the more I hear about like Blade and Moon Knight. So I'm like, okay, like I kind of want to see that. And then this actor though, I remember seeing him in Old, and he was like one of my favorite parts of Old. I thought he was pretty fun. You know, it was a small. I don't know if it was that big of a role. It's been a while since I've seen the movie, but I remember going, okay, like the dude can act. As much as I can remember that movie. So, hey, I think Marvel knows how to cast. If there's anything they do well that a lot of people can't dispute is they know how to cast. So I have faith in casting this dude.
Pete.
I like where you said, like, you were talking about the casting, and I was like, I hear people complain about the Green Lantern TV show and how we don't hear anything about that other than who was cast as Guy Gardner. And it's funny, like I feel like kind of like the same thing about Blade. Like, where is everyone complaining about this? I guess just Marvel has more brand loyalty and brand faith. But I'm excited to see where this goes. I'm with Adam. I love Blade 1 and Blade 2. Blade 3 I hate. I'm sorry, Mr. Goyer, it's not your best work. So I'm excited to see it. He's got big shoes to fill, but Ali is a fantastic actor. You know, stepping into the role after Wesley Snipes did those two fantastic movies and are really something. And I'm interested to see my favorite Daywalker as a series. Like, I'm glad this is a series, right? It's not a movie.
It's a movie.
Yeah. Oh, it's a movie. Okay.
Yeah.
For some reason, I was thinking it's Disney Plus series. Then I'm still pumped for it regardless. Blade's one of those characters. I fell in love with him during the 90s animated Spider-Man run. And that's where I first discovered him and just really just fell in love with his character, half man, half vampire, and his story. And it's fascinating because I think it seems to be Marvel is kind of dipping into the horror genre now, you know, similar to what DC has done. Now they got Sam Raimi. They had Scott Derrickson before that.
Yeah.
Doctor Strange 2 looks really scary. And it seems to have that Raimi imprint on it. And we'll see what Blade has in store. Because I think if you can do something with Blade that's a little bit more mature, maybe pushes the edge a little bit, maybe that's a good sign for what they can do with Deadpool, you know, and and that property. Because, you know, Blade can be pretty violent. That's, you know, he's got a sword and he's running a stake through vampires' hearts. Like, I'm very interested to see how the House of Mouse handles that, because it's not really their cup of tea, you know?
That's true.
So it's going to be one of those projects where I follow closely because I'm wondering what Disney will and won't do, because, there's no smoking in movies now because everyone's so afraid that little kids are going to start smoking cigarettes when everyone's vaping. So it's not even like a real thing anymore. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm pumped for Blade, and every little bit of news is nice because it's like with the way content comes out now, you kind of forget what is in development because
Right.
it's like, here we go from this to this and this and this is coming and this is that, and then you get so many announcements these days anymore where it's just like, wow, I can't keep up with all this stuff. That's why I forgot it was a movie, not a TV show.
Yeah. Well, what do I always say, Pete? Every time we hear casting, I'm like, well, it's good that they're still casting for these things because that means we're still getting it, right?
Yeah.
So,
because everyone always says like superhero fatigue. I was like, well, where's
Right.
it? At some point, I keep saying, at some point we'll go the way of the Western, but
Yeah.
it doesn't look like it's going to happen for a while. So just soak it all in, guys.
Well, one iteration that we thought went the way of the Western and has not, and is thankfully coming back in the Flash film, of course, is Michael Keaton's Batman. And he teased the picture, just a silhouette, a shadow, on his Instagram. And it's amazing. I'm just thinking, didn't want to talk about this, but it's amazing what just one picture has done. The conversation this one picture has started, and we're not even seeing him. It's just like a silhouette shadow photo. But Pete, I know obviously Team Yellow Oval, you are huge. This is a huge deal for you. So what did that silhouette like just bring you back again? Or you like?
Yeah, it did. It just hey, I will take a shadowy picture over some goddamn set leak any day of the week. I am not afraid to say that. It's wonderful. It came from his Instagram. To see those ears, it just warms my heart, man, to see Keaton's Batman back in the fold. And we're all questioning when Batgirl comes out, and I recently saw a post from Mr. Uslan, I think it was on Facebook, where he said November and December Keaton returns. So maybe the Flash is basically the prequel to Batgirl, and it's coming right after, one's coming right after another. So they're going to strike while the iron's hot. So we're going to get a lot of Keaton in a short amount of time. So that gets me really excited. Again, just really pumped. I'm happy that they did that. And again, like if it's going to send a meltdown across Zaddy Nation, then I'm all for it.
So Adam, we haven't had, obviously it's your first time on the show.
Yeah.
We haven't had you on. What's your excitement level for Michael Keaton's return? And when was the first time you saw Batman 89?
Oh boy.
Go there.
Well, my excitement level is through the roof. Keaton was my Batman growing up till we got the Dark Knight trilogy. And boy, I wore that VHS tape out as a kid so bad. Like I memorized the Diet Coke commercial with Alfred at the beginning to the Warner Brothers catalog commercial with Daffy Duck and Bugs. Yeah, I almost had to buy a replacement at some point because we were wearing that VHS out so much.
Turned it out.
Yeah, but I mean, seeing him post this picture got me even more excited because it's not the set leaks. It's not somebody else promoting him being Batman. It's him promoting being Batman again. And that's what gets me excited. It's his, I don't care if it's publicity or what. I take this as he's excited to be in this cape and cowl yet again. And that's something I've been waiting for almost, actually 30 years.
Yeah. Of the three of us, I remember the hoopla around 89. Obviously I was alive. I was a teenager. I was, so I remember that. And to see that the passion by him for this character is still there. That's the thing. Every time I see something having to do with this, whether it was hearing his voice in the sizzle reel or seeing this picture or seeing the teaser footage from Fandom for the Flash, like all of that stuff, it just kind of, it brings me back to being that 13-year-old kid again, going to see this movie for the first time. So
I just spent so much money buying Batman merchandise. The fact that they're gonna get me again with this Keaton stuff they're literally robbing me blind here.
Yes. So again, this was awesome. I don't want to get into it, but the conversations that these kinds of things just bring up are incredible.
I have to pinch myself that Keaton's back. Like I never thought I'd see the day. Never thought I'd see the day.
Exactly.
It's a real pleasant surprise. And coming off of the last run that we had, very divisive, really splitting fandom, and it was a rough stretch. To see where we are right now, it almost feels like it's worth it. You know, if we all believe the Batman is as good as everyone's saying it is, and then, you know, to have Keaton come back in the Flash and Batgirl, it almost makes like that 5-year run of misery just seem like, man, like, you know, why do we fall, Bruce, to pick ourselves back up? You know, like it really just feels like we earned it, we deserve it. You know, you know, it's always darkest before the dawn, and just it's
Nice.
the truth. Like, how many Batman quotes can I say?
I was just
like,
gonna say, how many more you got?
Feels like I don't know. It's perfect. It really is. Like, man, like I can't wait for this stuff. And the fact that the Batman's next week, and then, you know, November, December, we're getting more Keaton.
Mm-hmm.
Like, wow, that's just
Yes.
I you know, I hope it's good, and I trust Andy Muschietti and
Oh yeah,
you know, the Bad Boys directors. I think they're all going to deliver something really fantastic.
Yes. And as Pete has been alluding to, of course, the Batman is here. It's not coming anymore. It is here. It is literally a week away, a little less than a week away now. And the content obviously are surrounding it, and the marketing push is still tremendous. We're still getting tons of information about the film, all the interviews that people are doing. There was one that stuck out. Andy Serkis was on Good Morning America talking about his portrayal of Alfred. Mm-hmm. And it was a very cool, for me, it was a very cool clip to see, because they're doing the Alfred iteration that we pretty much got on Gotham, which is my favorite. I know Pete hates talking about Gotham, but that's my favorite iteration of the character. And we're getting that in this movie. And I'm expecting it to be better. Don't get me wrong. I thought Sean Pertwee and his performance on Gotham was one of my favorite parts of the show overall. But hearing this again for me was cool. So, Adam, what about you? What did you think of Serkis's comments about his Alfred, and what are you looking forward to?
It was a great little interview between him and Michael Strahan, and then it was the clip. I mean, I've been trying to avoid as many clips, but I keep kind of getting sucked in. Like, I keep trying to be like, nope, don't do it.
Watch the clip.
Skip the clip. But I ended up watching it. I think he looks great, and I wasn't a big fan of Gotham. I didn't stick with the show at all.
Yeah,
but
I mean, why would you?
Right. But it gave me vibes from Batman Earth 1. And that's kind of an Alfred take. I was kind of waiting for us to really get, like, he's got the scar on his face. He's got, you know, he's not the same old Alfred. And, you know, Andy Serkis can act his butt off. And he's one of my favorite actors in Hollywood. So I'm just anxious to see him in more than a 40-second clip. Like, I am super stoked.
Right. So, Pete, he talks about, specifically in this interview, he talks about how he broke his hip, and Reeves had written him with a cane, and he actually had to have one.
Sounds like you didn't need to act too much.
Right? Yeah.
So, you know, he really embodied Alfred wholeheartedly. That was an interesting interview. They do seem, I agree with Adam, Earth 1 Batman. It seems to, you know, you combine that and what Snyder was doing with his Alfred, and it kind of seems to take it to the next level. He mentioned he has military experience. He mentioned that's why the scars are there. That's why he's supposed to be walking with the cane, not because of the actual hip surgery. But he also mentioned how Alfred can't be a father figure to Bruce. And it seems like in past iterations of the character that he has been that. And so this looks like it's going to be slightly different, but still very much the same. And, you know, I mean, how could you not be pumped about Andy Serkis? We all knew Andy Serkis was going to be in this movie. He is Matt Reeves' guy, you know, just like Tim Burton and Johnny Depp. Yep. Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, you know, it was just a matter of what character. I remember a lot of people was kind of early on assumed to be Penguin, but I'm happy he's Alfred, which means we'll get him a whole hell of a lot. And you know, it's just great casting. I liked what he had to say. I'm interested to see the role he plays in the movie. As I said earlier, I did not watch the clip. I'm trying to go dark. I don't know when Twitter will get silenced in my pocket, but yeah, I'm doing my best to go in as dark as I can, and you know, so this way I can see the movie as intended, as one big piece.
Yeah, so that was one of the recent interviews that I saw. There was a couple of other interviews. Steve Weintraub from Collider, who I follow on Twitter. He's a really, really cool, really, really good guy. Mm. He did a couple of interviews with Zoe Kravitz, Robert Pattinson, and then with Paul Dano and Jeffrey Wright, specifically talking about the cinematography from Greg
Twitter's
Fraser.
Favorite word.
Yes, and from Greg Fraser, who has done so many great projects in Star Wars and all these other kinds of great films. that that we all know and love. And it was interesting to hear the takes that the different groups had. Pattinson and Kravitz were more reverent to him, and how, look, we just went there and kind of, he's such a genius. We just kind of couldn't believe how, how he kind of would structure things for us, and he made it look a lot easier than it actually was. Pattinson specifically talked about shooting the cowl and how hard that is. Like, he didn't realize how hard that was,
right?
Until and Fraser just makes it like seem so easy. And then Kravitz was like, after we did the screen test, he took all these shots of me, just these pictures, and she's like, why is he taking these pictures? And it's just to get like the angles.
He's like studying her face,
right, to do the darkness and the light. So those are just a couple of things that I found interesting from these interviews. Adam, what did you take away from the cinematography interviews?
The cinematography interviews were great. Like, just hearing how these actors, speak so highly of another member of their set, how a lot of people are kind of awestruck by actors, but I think the fact that the actors are awestruck by the dudes behind the camera says a lot for how this production was built, and they spoke a lot on that too. And Fraser has just been one of those cinematographers. I've seen some of his stuff, and everything from the Batman that I've seen is just, you can hang every single frame on your wall. That's how gorgeous this film looks, and I can't wait to see just more than these 5-second bursts of video or film, stretched out and allowed to play out on a big screen, and especially like an IMAX screen, because we all know they did some stuff in IMAX too.
Yeah. Pete, what about you? What did you take away from?
It was nice to hear people who know what cinematography actually is, talk about cinematography, because I feel like it's one of the most overused words on Twitter. And not saying that I know what actual like, I feel like people just use things to sound like cinephiles, and they have like this image to portray on the internet, and it's nice to hear people within the profession talk about this. And I liked how Jeffrey Wright was like, man, I look at the monitor and like everything's just set up. He's like, that's it. That's okay. I just got to go act. I just do my thing. Like, you guys got everything under control. And they really, and the interview with Wright and Dano really stressed that diner scene that we got teased in the early trailer.
Right. Yeah.
And so and then they're mentioning and then they do this thing with the rig and a coffee cup. And I'm like, oh wow, this thing is like a thing. Okay. I'm excited to see this. And it's like these small little details that they're talking about. And he's mentioning these neon lights and the greens and the pinks. And it's like, okay, so like, it's like I said, it's just great to hear people in the field talk about it, because they know the business, they firsthand, they're living that life, and just to soak in that information. Because for someone like me who like tries to be as real as possible and not try to seem like I know something I don't, it's like, oh, I learned something today.
Yeah, it was cool when Jeffrey Wright said that he's a painter, right? Like, that was the term he used to describe Fraser's work.
And Wright has been describing things like it's cinema. That was another thing that everyone that's another favorite word on Twitter. Like, he's one of us. He said cinema. Like, okay, calm down, please.
Yeah, man. It was I agree with you. Anytime you hear professional people talk about other professional people and how they're in awe and shocked by someone else, and these are obviously people at the top of their games as well. That's always awesome, whether it's sports or whatever it is. I always like hearing that, and it definitely, I mean, obviously we've seen some of the clips from the film and we know how good it looks already, but to hear them talk about the process and how it got there, I always love hearing that stuff.
It's fascinating. That stuff is not easy to do. Like, I even taking some like film classes in Western, getting the lighting just right. Like, cause we had to use like actual like 8mm, we used 8mm film for a project one time, and just getting that lighting just right was so hard to do. You get your film canister back and it's all black because you didn't do something right. So it's kind of like, well, crap.
Dude, I have a hard time lighting my toy reviews. You kidding me?
like people just think that, when you see a big budget movie, all they do is point a camera at your actors and you just hit record. There's just so much that goes involved with it. And these dudes are sought after for a reason. That's why you got your Wally Pfisters out there. That's why you got, Roger Deakins out there, who is the king of cinematographers. There's a reason these guys are sought after, because they know what they're doing and they make the rest of the production just so much easier to handle, because you got somebody who knows exactly how to take a director's vision and get it to the screen.
Yeah, it's great. I really like my anticipation. Sorry, I can't even talk.
You can't even speak.
I can't even speak. That's how crazy. I can't wait to see this movie. And one of the characters I know Pete can't wait to see is, of course, as everyone knows, Pete loves the Penguin, is Colin Farrell's portrayal of the Penguin. And he's also obviously been on the interview circuit and the marketing for the film. And he fought valiantly for some specific thing. Pete, what was that thing he fought valiantly for?
A cigar.
Yes.
Which is, hey, foreshadowing. I teased you early on. Yeah, he fought to have a cigar for the Penguin, and I thought that would have been great. We know that Oswald in Batman Returns spits out the cigarette in the holster. It got one scene, but apparently smoking is so bad that no one can even look at it anymore. So, it's bummed out because it's like, I don't think many young kids are going to see this movie in theaters to be influenced to go pick up a pack of Marlboros or Cubans. But,
Right.
whatever. Again, like it's not the end all be all. Like, I mean, there are people upset that they haven't seen the Penguin hold an umbrella yet. So, like,
yeah. The crazy thing for me is I'm thinking, and when I read that line, I'm like, so is a cigarette now enough to get movie rated R status? Is that enough?
Which is why I said earlier, like people are vaping now, so like cigarettes are a thing of the past.
I know it's crazy to think that, but that's where we are. But man, that's what it seems like. It seems like if you have a cigarette it can't be PG-13.
Right.
No, it has to be R now. It's just nuts to think about that. So
when
another
did we get
thing,
so soft?
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. Another thing Farrell's been talking about is obviously, as we've seen, because when I first saw him, I had no idea it was him. There's prosthetics that he has to wear to pull off this character. So he talked about one specific, he talked specifically about this, and this is a quote. He said, "The first day we tried the whole thing out, we took it for a drive, a spin, metaphorically speaking. We did it in Burbank. It took about 6 or 8 hours. It was a team of 10 or 15 people, and it was really fun. I went into Starbucks and ordered myself a very un-Oswald drink, an oat milk latte with 2 stevia sweeteners. I got a couple of stares, but only because it's such an imposing look. Designer Mark Marino did did so much of the work on me for this, so much of the heavy lifting." So we've heard about actors famously going into restaurants and stuff. Ledger apparently had got into a couple places when he was the Joker. But it was cool. What if Pete, if you saw the Penguin, first of all, I know you'd probably lose it. But if you saw him in a Starbucks ordering a oat milk latte, what would you think?
First of all, I'm mad no one took a video of this. Like
Right?
in an age where cell phone cameras and everything and anything is recorded, not one person has a video of this guy walking into Starbucks. And at least the crew members, like, hats off to the makeup team, because like obviously the makeup looks so good, no one thought this was a character from a movie.
Right.
Like he's wearing this fat suit, he's got this double chin, this scar. Like everyone probably just thought this guy got roughed up a little bit at some point. I think it's great that he was able to pull it off, and that the prosthetics and everything work, and no one could tell the difference. But I'm mad that not one of his buddies was recording this while it happened.
Right.
Yeah. Kind of a crazy.
Maybe it'll get released after the movie. Maybe they're saving.
Oh, that'd be a heck of a bonus feature, just watching him going into restaurants and places.
Yeah.
That should be the end credit scene, right?
There you go, the post-credit stinger.
Oswald eats sushi. Like put Oswald in like ridiculous scenarios. Like I don't know, Oswald at Bed Bath and Beyond.
Well, that's what they do. Like at the end of Peacemaker, they would have those little extra scenes with the actors doing more of the work.
Right.
If you watch past the credits, like they would show that there. So that was just a really cool story that Farrell shared. He is one of the people. I mean, I'm really looking forward to Dano as Riddler, but I am also interested to see how they go. And we also find out that we're finding out more about is, of course, the status of his follow-up show, which is coming on HBO Max, which I know, again, Pete, I'm sure you are super thrilled.
I can't wait.
It's kind of in the early stages that he's talking about. He's saying they're still trying to hammer down where exactly it's going to go.
Mm-hmm.
But it was cool to hear him actually talk about it, because we haven't really heard much about it. And now he's actually voicing it, and we know it's going to come. So I'll go to Adam first.
Yeah.
Are you interested in this?
I'm very interested. Anything right now, because like my anticipation level is so high, but I'm at the same time I'm kind of reserved. Just like, let's have the Batman be a good thing first, and then we can all start getting excited about these future ancillary projects they're starting to kind of place around the Batman universe.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, if he's coming back for it, like, I'm all in. Colin Farrell is a heck of an actor. Everything I've pretty much seen him in, he just knocks it out of the park. He's got a few duds, but for on the whole, this dude is just one of the best actors in the business that doesn't get as much love as I think he deserves.
I feel like there's a lot of the characters in this film. Like Pattinson's people still associate with Twilight. Farrell kind of had that little rough patch in his career, kind of fell off for a little while, but then he's done a lot of small roles that have kind of brought him back up. Serkis, I think people see him more as just a character actor, and I think he's so much more than that.
He's just, people think of him as a CGI actor.
Right. Kravitz is still kind of early enough in her career where not a lot of people know a lot of her work. So I think this is going to propel her up. So I feel like with this film, and this happens a lot with superhero movies, we get these actors in kind of delicate stages of their careers, and now, okay, this is the time to show it. And this is gonna prop them up to be even bigger than they are. The only one who really has been kind of known now because of the other work he's done is really Jeffrey Wright.
Oh yeah.
I'd say Totoro as well.
Yeah, Totoro. They're known, but they're more known for their TV stuff. But even Dano, who I think, he always plays this kind of a role, so it's going to be cool to see him doing this version of the Riddler. But yeah, he's somebody who I think after this, again, will be on the tip of everyone's tongue when they talk about future projects. So Pete, going back to Oswald, or I'm not even sure if that's what they're going to call the show, Oswald the Penguin, who knows? I know you're probably excited to hear this, at least talking about it, right?
Yeah, I'm pumped. I think on one of the red carpets, Matt Reeves talked about it, and he says that it's definitely going to happen and everything. So that's another just vote of confidence. And it is an interesting point to go back to what Adam said. Like, they're doing all these spinoffs and they're having all these plans, and we haven't seen the movie yet. But I like to think of it as like Warner Brothers just completely uber confident in this film. Like, they know that they have a gem on their hands, so they're going to strike while the iron's hot. And to do a show on Oswald, I think is great, because while Robin Lord Taylor has his fans and people like that, I that version of the Penguin, while it might have been one of the better elements of that show, was still not great. And I think we're in for a very definitive look at the Penguin in this Batman verse, as we are Catwoman. I think those two characters will be very definitive from what I can tell.
Mm-hmm.
And there's been rumors of a Catwoman show early on, and that faded. So now we're getting an Oswald show, and just, again, the fact that they're just going to this Matt Reeves well is really exciting. And I'm just wondering what else he has in store. And, whatever this GCPD Arkham show is, I'm interested in that as well. But the fact that, you're hearing a lot more Penguin, maybe that's the one that's actually going to really get done first and foremost. So we'll see. And it looks to kind of be the counterpart to, or the sister or whatever spinoff, like what Peacemaker was, a Suicide Squad, Penguin will be to the Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's kind of the de facto sequel. Like, James Gunn has said that Peacemaker is a sequel to Suicide Squad. So we'll see what happens with Oswald and his journey. And Colin Farrell, he's gonna be working out a lot, because I can't imagine that fat suit being light. That might be heavier than the bat suit.
Yeah, like you brought up, obviously Robin Lord Taylor's, and that was such an over the top interpretation, which worked.
That was something.
One of the things, whatever you think about that show, it worked in that world. So what we're getting here obviously should be a lot better. And it's going to be, this is, again, it's hard to keep talking about this because we've been talking about it for so long, and now it's actually here. And the next time we get to talk about it, it will be after we saw the film. So I'm really looking forward. So really quick, Adam, when are you seeing the Batman?
I got tickets for the Tuesday fan screening in IMAX. So just a few days away. I'm giddy with excitement.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, I got
because we're all kind of.
Yeah, I get to go see it with my dad and my brother. I've seen every Batman film. Well, not every Batman film, but I've seen like the last few films with my dad in the theater. He's the guy who got me into Batman. So it's going to be kind of extra special taking him to see a new iteration of Batman on an IMAX screen of all things, which is my favorite way to see films.
Oh yeah, especially when they shot if they were shot using IMAX technology, then yes, that's definitely the way you want to.
And we got lucky. Like I used to have to drive an hour just to find an IMAX theater. They built one right here around Kalamazoo, so I just got a 15-minute drive just to the IMAX now, which is great.
That's awesome. That's incredible. Yeah. So Pete, man, it's here. We are.
How long has it been? It's been since 2017, right?
So long.
It's been a long time, man, and
yeah.
Just, oh man, just
before we were a thing, like before we were doing this. So yeah,
we've always been a thing. Don't deny us. Don't deny our love.
So this has been such a journey.
When's the first time you're going to see it?
When's the first time I'm going to see it?
Yeah.
All right. I was going to wait, but I got a chance to go to the IMAX screening for free. So I am going on Tuesday to see it.
Look at you, you big shot. Look at you.
Yeah, I got a chance to go to it for free. And I'm going to take the opportunity to go see it in IMAX, as Adam said. If it was just a regular screening, I would have waited to go to see it with you guys in Texas. But because it's IMAX, and like Adam said, we know some of it was shot in IMAX. It's definitely, I couldn't pass it up. So I'm going to see it Tuesday as well. And I will, Pete, I promise I won't say a word about it after. If you just want my initial good or bad relationship or reaction, I'll tell you good or bad. But from what I'm hearing and what I've heard from people who have seen it, I'm pretty and what I know of the film, I'm pretty sure I'm going to love it regardless.
Okay, good. I will be seeing it for the first time. I believe it was March 5th in Texas. I'm going to hold out. I want to be the one person to see it for the first time. I want to do that, and I want to have that fresh reaction. So I'm going to. This
will be the second time for me. I'm with Pete when he's first seeing something that I've already seen. Justice League was the first time.
Do you just sit there and watch him? Like, do you just watch him react to stuff that you know is coming
Everyone's
up?
Everyone's going to be watching me watch the movie. That's how I feel. I'm going to be sitting next to Rick Shue. So
yeah. That should be fun.
It's like when I first saw The Dark Knight Rises, you know, there's the scene at the end with the atomic bomb, and I started losing it because I was like, oh, sorry, audio kind of got funky on my end.
No, go ahead.
No, yeah. So when I saw The Dark Knight Rises for the first time, we had 12 people in a whole row at a theater to see the movie at midnight. And when, you know, I thought Batman died, you know, they blew him up with the atomic bomb. And I had 11 faces all down the aisle looking down at me, seeing tears just going down my face. So.
Oh, man.
It's going to be something. I can't wait. I really think we're in store for something special. So
I just hope nothing gets spoiled for you waiting that long.
No. Well, do you want to know something? I waited the same amount of time to see No Way Home, and I didn't get spoiled. So
okay, that's good.
I think I got this covered.
Yeah, I have to say, of everyone I know who tries to avoid stuff, Pete's the best at it.
Okay,
like, he's so good at not.
I can be a Green Lantern. I have willpower.
Yeah, he's really, really good at it. So I have no problem.
There's someone who's on Twitter as much as I am.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing. I say that all the time. I'm like, how do you miss this stuff? Like,
dude,
we'll bring up something like,
so many losers.
Yeah, we'll be like, oh, Pete, we know you're waiting to say. He's like, don't worry about it. I'm not going to see it. I totally took care of that. We're just like, all right,
that's good because this is something I would hate to get spoiled. I
even mute my friends. Anyone who posted a picture of that Keaton set pick got muted. Like even someone I talked to, like I was like, I'm sorry. It's
yep, that's true. I did too.
I have rules.
I did too. That's what happened for me with Star Wars. I do that. I did that with the Star Wars films because I was like, I don't want to know a thing. I don't want anyone to
When
tell
is
me
the
anything.
first fan screening? Is that Monday?
Yes, Monday is the first, I think, fan screening. Because I believe our friends, the Carusos, are going, and Zeddy are going to
Sunday night. I'll go on a mute spree,
so
and I'll just mute words and phrases and handles
and then Tuesday is the IMAX screening, and then obviously.
But also, like, I'll be in Texas. Like, I have plans. Like, there's a Mavs game one day. Yeah. I'm going out, and I'm essentially on vacation. What idiot is on his phone during vacation? The answer is no one. You're having a good time on vacation. So, it's not going to be very difficult. It's not like I'm sitting around at home. You know, like I will be out doing things. I'll be being active, eating brisket and tacos. So. And I'm going to check out the grassy knoll. So I'll be.
That's a good spot.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think that'll be good too. That we'll all when we're all together, it'll be a good distraction for you. Because I'm not gonna talk about the movie. I know other people that we're gonna be with will have seen it, but I'm not gonna talk about the
I'm
movie.
pretty sure everyone's going to see it except for me and Garrett.
Yeah, I think that's it. So
Yeah.
I don't know about like Javi and all the other people coming, but they're all staying at our hotel. So.
Yeah, I mean, we turned. I tried to turn this place into a Batman on Film frat house, and I succeeded.
Yeah. So Adam, too bad you couldn't come down, man. It'd be fun to actually.
It was one of those things where it's like I always see those Jet posting those watch party things. I'm like, one of these days, and it was just this wasn't the year for it, but one of these days I would love to go down. I've always wanted to meet Jet. Or Bill. That's why I joined the Batman on Film Fantasy League in the first place with you guys, because I was like, maybe I'll get to meet Bill. He's always kind of been a hero of mine, just kind of watching how he conducts the website and everything. And so that was always kind of something that stuck with me and why I stuck with Batman on Film since I was in high school. It was like, this dude just runs a ship of respect, and I dig that out of the guy.
Well, I think you're going to get a sequel, so maybe we'll see it for the next one.
Oh, fingers crossed.
Yeah. And we'll definitely pass that on to him because,
oh, he'll listen. He listens.
Yeah, he'll.
Wait, he listens? Uh-oh. Hi, Bill.
He no, he would definitely love to hear that from you, from fans, because he hears a lot of the other stuff too.
I mean, I've tried to say stuff to him on Twitter, and one time it was when the Lions and Cowboys played in a playoff game back in 2014, which obviously didn't go our way. So I might have been a little bitter with his Cowboys.
He zones in when it comes to football,
right?
So it's hard to distract him.
Yeah, don't bother trying to talk to him on a Sunday during football.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. All right, so Adam, thank you for coming on. Thank you for being cleanup hitter on our guest month.
Hey, thanks a lot for having me, guys. Awesome. I mean, to follow up those 3 great guests you have had me nervous. I was like, oh boy, those guys all knocked it out of the park. Like, all I'm going to do is maybe fall on my face.
No, you did.
You did great. It was fun.
This was excellent. Thank you again for coming, and let everyone know where they can find your show and your podcast and all that, and talk to you specifically. Go ahead.
I mean, you guys can find my YouTube channel, the Adam Snow Movie Show. Just do a search. I'm still, building a following, so you still got to kind of just do the search. I don't have a great URL just yet, but maybe someday you can follow the show on Instagram at the Adam Snow Movie Show, Adam Snow Movie Show, and then on Twitter at A Snow Movie Show. Is where you can find that. If you enjoy football, I have a podcast with my dad called This Week in the World of Football, where we talk pretty much every kind of football, college, pro, USFL, XFL, you name it. We talk about it. Well, we talk about all of it.
Canadian football, yeah.
We talk CFL too. We love Canadian football. I mean, we've driven to Toronto and Hamilton to see games up there in Canada before. It's great.
Awesome. So interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so we love our CFL football. We can't wait for the CFL season to come back around, especially when the Lions stink as bad as they do. So yeah, you could.
Well, no pressure,
right? But you can follow. We also put some stuff on YouTube. Look for the World of Football Kalamazoo on YouTube as well. Again, we're building a following there. So if you like football, check us out there. We'd appreciate it.
No pressure, Adam, but I would love to be on either of your shows. So if you ever want to do so, have a guest.
We're working on it. We're kind of working on some kicks. We're taking a break after we've recorded every week for almost 5 years. So we just finished episode 237 on Tuesday.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, it's been a great run, and I'm surprised my dad hasn't kicked me off for a different co-host yet because I give him so much crap. But we have a lot of fun doing it, but we're just taking a little bit of a break to kind of recharge our batteries. The football season has actually died down, so we're like, there's not a whole lot to talk about, so we're going to take a break. We're kind of rearranging his studio, which is where I'm recording in right now. So we're kind of reworking some things, and we're going to work on some videos for his YouTube channel, so I'm trying to help him out with that. So yeah, trying to stay busy while not actually producing a weekly podcast for a couple weeks.
Yeah, get ready for the draft, right? That's the next.
Oh, yeah, that and the underwear Olympics coming up.
I didn't even know that was
that's
a thing.
true. The combine is the underwear.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what they call it. So, all right, Pete. Tell everyone where they could find you and all the things you do, because you're like the hardest working man in this space. So
sure, thanks. You can follow me on social media. That's Twitter, Instagram, and Zack Snyder's favorite platform, Bureau, at Pete Illustrated. You can follow podcast number 1, the podcast you're listening to now, at straight_O_G, Straight Outta Gotham. That's a news aggregator feed. You'll get the Grundy alerts. You'll get everything that we talk about on the show on that feed. Also, check out our Facebook group and our Facebook fan page. It does the same thing. So if you're on one platform or another, we like to keep you covered. We're also check out our Instagram, if I've mentioned that or not. It's straight__G. We're not very active on there, but you'll know when the show is due to the Grundy alerts. Check out Team Yellow Oval, and because we're just celebrating everything Keaton and the Oval being in print and on film and on TV. So big things there. Follow podcast number 2, the Italian Spider-Man Coalition podcast. That is an Italian Spider-Man podcast that I co-host with Sausage and Meatball, Nick and Nico Caruso. They're great. That's at Italians for Spidey. Check out my comic book reviews on Detective Comics at BatmanOnFilm.com. I've got toy reviews on the Riddler and the Penguin on Batman on Film YouTube. I've got interviews with Michael Uslan and Tara Strong on Batman on Film YouTube, and I think that covers it. Eric, take it away.
As you guys know, you can find me on Twitter at Finally33, spell Finale33. Pete handled all the SOG stuff, so I'm not going to go into that. Definitely check us out. And if you guys enjoy having a little bit of banter discussion with us, though, definitely come to Facebook, the Straight Outta Gotham group. We have a lot of nice conversations there, and it's a fun place for our fans to interact with each other. Look out for my new podcast coming in the New York area. If you are a fan of the New York Knicks, I will be starting a podcast called All Nicked Up. It is, which is a perfect title for the way that team is run. So definitely look out for that. It's going to be a fun little thing I'm doing with a couple of other suffering Knick fans, because we just, man, whatever. I even talking about it, you hear it in my voice. I want to be on
the Knicks Pacers rivalry show.
Yeah, if it ever heats up again, yeah, we could do a Knicks Pacers rivalry show. Check out, guys, go to BOF and check out some of my content there. Obviously, I reviewed Titans for Batman on Film. I have interviews with Jerry O'Connell and Rebecca Romaine and Megan Tandy and Rachel Scarston from Pete's favorite show, Batwoman. So you could go and check out all my content over there. And hey, always interact with me on Twitter again. That's where I'm mostly at, and I can be controversial at times. So have fun with me there.
Fascist.
Oh no, don't go there. Oh God. Anyway, all right. I guess on that note, we can put this one to bed. So for Adam Snow and Peter Vera, I am Eric Holzman. You are listening to Straight Outta Gotham, and we will see you next time.
Booyah!